Hello, everyone. Welcome to ZetaRadio Live Backstage Edition. This is Jonathan, or Taoist JC, on community side. The monthly recap is out for April as of about 20 minutes ago. So a lot of developments to cover, and we're going to test out this live stream tool and go over some of the updates in real time. So April marks 90 days after the launch of ZetaChain mainnet beta. We crossed 100 million transactions on the Universal EVM, announced a huge ecosystem growth program that commits 5% of Zeta supply to building next generation omni-chain dApps. Tons of product updates, ZetaScan, ZetaHub, updates on XP program, and some exciting stuff in development. And then April was also a huge month of global events. So I'm going to let on some core contributors from ZetaChain from a few different groups. We have Lucas and Pondru on the protocol side and engineering, Dennis contributing to developer experience, Brandon just hopped in on the product side, Swayam on ecosystem. So welcome guys. And I think it'd be great to go over some quick intros on your background and how you're contributing to the ZetaChain network. And maybe let's start with protocol. Go for it, Lucas.
Sure. So hi everyone, my name is Lucas. I joined ZetaChain a year ago now. Before that, I was working at Tendermint, so I'm a Cosmos native person. And at ZetaChain, I'm right now leading the protocol team and ensuring that we release new features so that we can move towards this vision of the Universal EVM.
Thanks. Brewmaster, aka Pondru.
Hey, this is Panru, aka Brewmaster. So I've been with ZetaChain for I think a little bit more than 2 years now. I've been primarily working on the protocol side, but also dabble in other areas as well.
Cool. Dennis?
Yeah, hey everyone, my name is Dennis. I've been contributing to the Cosmos ecosystem since 2019, been with ZetaChain for the past year, focusing primarily on tutorials, developer tooling, documentation, and participating in events, so DevRel. Awesome to be here.
Thank you. Swayam.
Hey everyone, this is Swayam. In blockchain since 2016, mainly working on protocol design, ecosystem design, bit of research background, and mainly leading the grants and the overall infra ecosystem at ZetaChain.
And last but not least, True.
Hey, True, aka Brandon. I have been working on ZetaChain for about the same time as Brewmaster, so a bit over 2 years, I think going on 3. I primarily contribute to product, so kind of all things of how we interface with the world, be it ZetaHub features, our website, some protocol discussions, and just kind of making sure we are delivering something tangible to end users.
Cool. Thanks, guys. So let's jump into recap. Been live for 8 minutes now, so y'all can follow along in real time, and we're going to test out screen sharing here. So yeah, 100 million transactions on the Universal EVM in 90 days. we can look at this system of truth, 113, close to 114 million. So very big accomplishment for everyone participating in the ecosystem. Want to talk about Universal EVM and what exactly that means. Like, there are a lot of EVM compatible L1 blockchains out there, but what is Universal EVM? How does it differentiate ZetaChain from other blockchains out there? And maybe let's start with the protocol point of view. Panru or Lucas, what's Universal EVM?
Well, I can give it a shot, and maybe Lucas, maybe you can chime in a little bit later. So to me, what we've been trying to do is to make assets and data fluid across chains, and among those chains, particularly the EVM chains, those popular and high-value chains are important to us. So we have been trying to make it possible first, and then easy to develop and use. And so we've been trying to innovate in this area. I think we are the first blockchain to support omni-chain smart contract that directly control native assets on other chains. That makes foreign assets native on ZetaChain. And in addition, we also support more traditional message passing style that relays or forwards messages across chains to enable you to call a smart contract from on chain B from chain A. So, and in the next release or two, we are going to make these make it more fluid to move assets and data across the chains by introducing the withdraw and call functionality, so that you can call a contract from ZetaChain to any of the connected chains and attach any of those assets that are enabled on ZetaChain. It's still in the flux. Yeah, that's my take on it.
Cool. Lucas, Bertrand, anything to add on that? What makes ZetaChain's EVM special from other generic L1 general purpose chains?
Yeah, I think Banu gave a good overview of everything. So we started like as a chain who support L1 that is natively interoperable with other blockchains, in the sense where you can deploy smart contracts on that chain that will manage assets on external chain. So you have L1 where you can build cross-chain decentralized application just by deploying the contracts on this chain specifically. So you can build cross-chain decentralized exchange by just deploying contract on that chain, unlike other interoperability solution where you would need to deploy application on the two related blockchains, for example. And no, the vision is more like to extend further those abilities with, as Banner mentioned, like this ability from ZetaChain to call also smart contracts on external blockchain. This is something that we're bringing with the new release and upgrades that we are making very soon, V16, through message passing, but also in the release after, having the ability to withdraw the chain native assets like Ethereum and also call smart contracts, which will make ZetaChain like basically universal EVM in the sense where you can have a full set of interactions. You can deploy smart contracts, interoperable smart contracts that have a full set of interactions with external blockchains.
Great, thanks guys. And I guess like bigger picture, vision of what this exactly means. So with the Universal EVM, blockchains, assets, native gas tokens, stable coins, or even NFTs, any sort of arbitrary data, this is abstracted away and converged for a more ideal crypto user experience. Maybe Brandon, if you could chime in, what's your 2 cents on this universal EVM and this kind of universal settlement layer, and from your perspective?
Yeah, so I mean, I'll probably echo what Lucas and Ponder have already gone over, but the goal of this universal EVM is essentially to add this synchronous programmable layer across the entire crypto ecosystem, and in turn letting end users, in a lot of cases for many apps, to only ever have to interface in one place, meaning you're interacting with this EVM and you actually don't have to even touch other pieces of crypto. The apps themselves have the ability to orchestrate, kind of utilize the best of what these different blockchains offer, be it security, be it compute, data storage, etc., or even social graphs. And as a user, you just have your one wallet connected to this one EVM or whatever chain you began on or onboarded into, and that's kind of it. So it's universal EVM. It's also focused on this concept of universal chain abstraction, where users don't have to have much notion of blockchains underlying the apps, but are able to appreciate the benefits of them.
Yeah, and one of the things this enables is Bitcoin interoperability. So if you're a user on Bitcoin, from your wallet, you can call these omni-chain or universal contracts on ZetaChain and interface with all of DeFi. So Dennis, maybe you want to chime in from more the developer side, like high level, how exactly does ZetaChain enable Bitcoin interoperability? And feel free to, we can jump around any of the pages here. Let me know.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think what the team mentioned positions ZetaChain very well to become a sort of hub that's that kind of connects all the blockchains together and simplifies the developer experience when you're building for this multi-chain future, right? Or more like present, right? You no longer need to necessarily deploy your contract on every blockchain there is, which is very complex in terms of well, both deployment and also testing and synchronization of the state. Having contracts on a dozen of chains is not the right way to build scalable multi-chains. With ZetaChain, it's much more streamlined, where you just deploy a single contract to ZetaChain. Users from any connected blockchain can easily send tokens to this contract, call functions of this contract, and the contract can produce outputs to one or more connected chains, which makes it a very powerful mechanism to build applications that connect Bitcoin, Ethereum, BSC, any other chain we connect in the future. And from end users' point of view, or even developers' point of view, it couldn't be simpler, right? You just send a token transfer with some data in the input field, and it gets processed by the protocol, and the appropriate contract is called. The message is passed to this contract, and that's it. So what this also gives is an opportunity to connect chains that were not that well connected in the past, right? So we know there are bridges from Bitcoin to other blockchains, but you can't necessarily call a contract from Bitcoin and send tokens to it in a single transaction, right? And with ZetaChain you can. So this also dramatically streamlines the user experience, and that's something you really want with Bitcoin specifically. Have smart contracts with Zeta almost feels like it does have, right? From putting BTC into a staking contract or swapping it for a different token. So it brings tremendous utility to Bitcoin as well, because now with just a single transfer, you can send someone USDC on Ethereum, for example, directly from Bitcoin without having to worry about gas fees on Ethereum, without having to deal with swaps. Like, all of this is taken care of for you. The only thing you need to do is have whatever token you currently have and interact with an app, sign a transaction, and that's it. So yeah, I think it's a very powerful mechanism for abstracting away all the complexities and bringing more dApps to users that previously weren't able to necessarily use them. So, yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Dennis. And what's pretty exciting is that it can be extended to other non-smart contract chains like Dogecoin and others. But of course, Bitcoin is number one. You have like $1 trillion of value on the network, and it's pretty siloed off from the rest of DeFi. So just clicking into you talked a bit about the mechanism. Panru, you want to jump in and just explain high level how the TSS architecture looks and what's possible? Like, you can swap native Bitcoin for other DeFi assets on other chains right now, and then you can also build any sort of arbitrary application that involves Bitcoin. And there's a lot of exciting stuff in development. But like, how does the TSS work?
How does the TSS work? Oh, okay. So with regard to Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is not does not have a powerful smart contract capability, and most of the things that we do with Bitcoin is moving native Bitcoin around, and that is mostly the job or responsibility of the omnichain smart contract. So how the thing works is we have the blockchain itself sort of holds an account on Bitcoin network, and any user or application interactions with the ZetaChain contracts is via the proxy of that account. That account is kind of like TSS threshold signature scheme, and it has currently 9 key shares across 9 observer key signers in the network, and it works on behalf of the network protocol, so it's fully automatic. So the way to so you can do 2 things with regard to Bitcoin with the omnichain application on ZetaChain. So first, you can call any smart contract on Zeta EVM by sending a Bitcoin transaction on Bitcoin network, and the ZetaChain system will forward the Bitcoin that you attach in your contract, in your transaction, and also going to call the contract with the address and the parameters that you specify in your transaction. And second, you can also transfer native Bitcoins to another Bitcoin addresses by making a by emitting a specific event from ZetaChain EVM contract. So that allows some very interesting applications. I think Dennis has a tutorial that you can mint an NFT by sending a Bitcoin, and then the NFT lives on Zeta EVM, and then you can do whatever you like with the NFT, transfer it, and somebody else who has the NFT could burn the NFT and get Bitcoin in its own Bitcoin wallet. So and there's some other interesting applications. I think we've been using the multi-sig contract on Zeta EVM, the popular ones such as Gnosis Safe, to manage Bitcoin assets, right? So we have, suppose we want to pay somebody or refund or some Bitcoin to somebody, but we need several signers for it. So on Bitcoin network, it's going to be a little bit difficult, but on ZetaChain is simply using the almost stock Gnosis Safe multi-sig contract. It has a lot of functionalities such as multi-send and so on to directly send Bitcoins to the recipients with the multi-signatures.
Cool. Yeah, lots of exciting stuff developers can build with native Bitcoin, and that's one of the big focuses of the new ecosystem program, which I want to jump to. So yeah, this was a big headline in April. The new ecosystem program will accelerate growth of projects building on ZetaChain through developer grants. And there's a big focus on innovating around Bitcoin and involving Bitcoin in apps with tokens from other chains, and bringing true compatibility to your apps. So yeah, Swayam, maybe I'll loop you in here. What's like the TLDR on the headline here, and maybe we can talk about some of the focuses of the Bitcoin portion.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Jonathan. So just to summarize what we already discussed on what is possible with the EVM and the BTC capability of ZetaChain, we just want to take a step further and make it as a primary focus or to develop some really new, genuine applications, products that solves the problem for genuine user base across the Web3. And the core thing that we enable as a chain is abstraction, chain abstraction at a higher level, and improves the UX for any and every other applications which are designing or integrating this new features that we have. And just to double down on this, we allocated a dedicated fund from our circulating supply. Like 5% of Zeta would be the entire program of ecosystem growth, and out of which 1%, which is roughly around 21 million Zeta, dedicated to BTC products. Specifically, I think honestly, what I really would like to see on the chain build is something more on lending borrowing using BTC as the core asset. We have liquid staking and restaking of BTC yet to be explored further. We have multi-asset CDP pools just using Bitcoin. I think that are a few of the exciting things that I envision on how this program of how we can actually incentivize developers to build some good products.
Thanks, Swayam. Anyone else on contributions to Bitcoin infrastructure or other interesting use cases that they would steer the ecosystem towards in terms of applications for the program? Anything? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I can chime in a little bit. I think just adding on to what Swayam was talking about, one thing, kind of an overarching theme of all of these is user experience. Right now, many of you guys in the audience have probably dabbled in some Bitcoin-related applications, and I think you'll probably agree with me that the user experience or just general education around how to use these apps is pretty difficult to parse, difficult to understand. Whether it's infrastructure, new DeFi, gaming and social, etc., applications that can achieve a user experience where a new user, like your mom or dad, can come in and kind of just get it is the goal. And like all of the features that ZetaChain has or that are unique to ZetaChain are also focused on this improving user experience. So Bitcoin is a key pillar of this because so many people are kind of exposed to it or have access to it, but don't really have much utility for their Bitcoin. But if you can unlock some new user experience, bring these users with these assets to new opportunities or new experiences, I think there's a huge opportunity for that. And the team here is pretty excited to build that with you.
Thanks, Brandon. Yeah, and I think you hit the chain abstraction vision on the head. It's like if you're a developer, you want to deploy your app and experience all chains really easily, even Bitcoin. And then that translates to a user experience where you can be on whatever chain you want, whatever wallet, and you can tap into these apps that just work everywhere, like Web 2 internet. So that is what we're building towards, and we want to empower developers to build these next generation omni-chain or universal apps. So check out the grants page and you can apply directly today. So I want to transition into some more ecosystem news, and folks on the protocol side, feel free to hop off. I know you got busy day, so, or you can follow along on the live stream, but feel free to hop. So on ecosystem, one of the big headlines here, Coinbase wallet adds ZetaChain as a default network. So if you're on Coinbase wallet, you don't have to go through the hassle of switching networks manually. And this is a pretty big deal, and we're super excited about it. This also came with the launch of learning rewards, where over 1 million users have earned Zeta. And this is the learning rewards are available to an initial pool of Coinbase users, and then will expand over time. We also understand not everybody is on Coinbase wallet, and we have other campaigns and partnerships and development that we'll share more on, just like testnet. So Brandon, anything I'm missing here? Maybe how this ties into Zeta Hub? Anything to share?
Yeah, so for those of you who did not have access to it or haven't seen the campaign in the Coinbase app, the learning rewards are fully focused on teaching people about ZetaChain and Zeta Hub. So how you connect to the network, and this screenshot kind of shows Coinbase Wallet supports ZetaChain natively as a supported network, which is pretty great for onboarding users. But beyond that, once you get into the quests and learning campaign related to all this Coinbase kind of program that Jonathan mentioned, it's fully focused on kind of bringing people into the XP program, sending, like understanding how the cross-chain UX works, at least in Zeta Hub, and then kind of bringing you off to the races of exploring apps on ZetaChain. Again, all of Zeta Hub is focused on this improved user experience. So the thinking is, as we're getting users exposed to this, we're gathering more feedback, and we'll kind of improve over time the product and overall experience for new users and seasoned users.
Cool. Yeah, and we'll swing back to Zeta Hub in a bit. Other ecosystem news, lots of new partners we're welcoming to the ZetaChain ecosystem. You can check out everyone that's connected into ZetaChain on our ecosystem page, zetachain.com/ecosystem. Some highlights here. We met Upcade, which is a Polish gaming company based in Poland. We met them at ETH Denver at our booth, and they're building really cool stuff, and it's live on ZetaChain network. And speaking of Bitcoin interoperability, they are turning on this integration soon. So depositing native Bitcoin in a game, receiving rewards in any token on any connected chain, including Bitcoin. These are the sort of things that become possible. Quill audits. So this is a cool partnership that will help bring extra eyes on the code of apps in the XP program. And as we disperse more grants, Quill audits is going to help make sure that these apps are secure. Lots of other stuff around dev tooling and infrastructure. Covalent live on mainnet, Blast live on mainnet, and testnet. We can't neglect testnet for developers building apps and prepping to launch. Swayam, anything I'm missing here? Anything you'd call out about ecosystem development in general?
Yeah, I think you covered most of it. I'll just highlight few of the things. We gave grants to some of the core projects. One is Runes Bridge, which is building a bridge from Runes to Zeta. It's probably going live probably this week sometimes. So that is something proper value addition to Runes as well as to ZetaChain. We have Motordex, which is one of the gaming, one of the top rated games on DappRadar, which is joining our ecosystem later this month. We have Substance X, which is a pub text. They are already live on the ZetaChain.
Very cool. Yeah, some of those are not yet released, so look out for updates. Also, Space ID activation continues to be successful. Number 4 on name service registrations. And we encourage app developers to start to integrate these universal identities in their products. In fact, one of the updates on ZetaChain product on ZetaScan Explorer is that you can set a primary Zeta domain. So we are practicing what we preach. On product, pretty substantial UI, UX updates to ZetaScan and ZetaHub. We're thinking, like, you could read the threads and monthly recap, but we can also run you through a quick demo of those updates. Brandon, if you want to take over screen share.
Sure. Give me a second. Yeah, so just to recap, this is our ZetaScan Explorer, and at a high level, it gives users and developers access to all the underlying data in a parsable way, be it cross-chain transactions, normal ZEVM transactions, and then even the validator set, underlying Cosmos transactions, and also the network's cross-chain liquidity. status. Over the past month or so, before the launch of this overhaul, the team spent a lot of time just rethinking every single detail of the UI. So one prominent change is the search. So search supports a lot of new types of addresses, whether it's the inbound transaction hash of what you sent from another chain. It saves your history over time, so you kind of have this easy log of what you have searched. You can reference back. Also, a huge push has been dedicated towards coverage on transactions. So rather than just seeing a subset of transactions, the Explorer now has exposure to pretty much every type of transaction, be it Cosmos underlying, cross-chain transactions, token transfers, etc. Even staking, unstaking, and non-delegation sort of transactions are supported. If you go into specific transactions or addresses, you can just like kind of nice parsing UI, you can see where addresses match. So I can see all of these are from this address. They're not doing any reverse people sending to them, except for right here. That sort of thing helps developers, users parse through this pretty complex data a lot easier. And as Jonathan mentioned, we also have .zeta domain support. And just little things like, more blocks have come in, instead of kind of giving you a more jittery experience of updating these completely live. You have a way to hop into there. So I'll stop there. There's a lot of little details that probably take too much time to walk through in full.
Yeah, check it out and experience the updates. How about Zeta Hub? Key updates on that front? Anything to demo?
I mean, a lot of the comments in the chat are obviously about Zeta Hub. As far as updates to the UI, there are actually a bunch. So be it the layout here, just making it a little easier to see what your XP status is, where you're at, as well as holdings. So this widget is completely new, a lot more parsable. You can see your total asset value, some underlying tokens, all in even just this small UI. And then when you want to look at breakdowns of your tokens, we've introduced this UI, the holdings page. So for Zeta, for example, I can see a split between my wrapped and my standard. Native Zeta, I can see Bitcoin. If I were connected with my Bitcoin wallet, I could see my Bitcoin across multiple wallets. Same for USDC on ZetaChain or Ethereum. For XP, there is a new batch of tasks, and I think this is probably the biggest talking point in the community right now. As you guys have probably seen in the hub updates, the new phase of XP is focused on kind of introducing new transaction minimums to layer on this data into your XP profile, your XP dashboard. And once that data is sort of layered in, it'll be a richer thing to tap into or query for a lot of the grantees, the user growth pool, and how that is going to be distributed out to end users, so everyone involved in the XP program. And then regarding timelines, I guess I just wanted to note, once we have a set timeline, we will share that. So I think there's a lot of kind of disrest and internally, our team is in the philosophy of we don't want to set a timeline unless we are completely confident, security-wise, audit-wise, user experience-wise, what we are going to offer to end users. But I will say that just like the launch of ZetaChain mainnet beta itself, you guys can kind of compare it to other projects, mainnet launches, where many projects wait a year or two even to do a airdrop to their users, whereas ZetaChain's mainnet beta launched with an airdrop in ZetaHub, claimable on day one, on the exact same day as the mainnet launched. Again, for XP, this is a huge project, kind of building this global loyalty program across all connected chains. So building a proper way to reward users, for apps to reward users, is going to take time. But once the team knows the timeline, it will be shared.
A lot of excitement. This is bigger than Zeta Points. Zeta Points was really innovative on testnet. This was like one of the first examples of a proprietary point system and gamification, and it was a huge success going into the mainnet activation and bringing in all of the users that participated. And then, the XP is a longer term open source project. And you heard Brandon mention involving the apps in the ecosystem in terms of triangulating rewards. And we envision the XP data layer to be something that anyone can use to understand crypto users and interactions, not just on ZetaChain, but across the whole chain ecosystem, which is what ZetaChain is all about. So exciting developments, and we'll continue to keep you updated. Thanks, Brandon. So want to jump back to the monthly recap. Another jam-packed calendar in April. I think Dennis was in like 5 different countries. Here you are on the main stage at Hong Kong Web3 Festival. And then we met in Dubai, which was quite interesting. I guess the big question, how are you balancing going to all of these places and doing these speaking events while also writing new tutorials and supporting Q&A and in Developer Zone and Discord? How do you balance it all, Dennis?
Yeah, that's pretty tricky. We did have events in 3 different countries in 3 weeks, so it was traveling, but it was for fun. So if it wasn't, then it would be impossible to accomplish. But it's to talk to people who are building on ZetaChain, to meet partner projects in person, be able to talk with them about their accomplishments and what they're planning. So this all makes it worth it. And also, we had a booth in Hong Kong for 3 days, so I got to meet a lot of users who are surprisingly familiar with ZetaChain. A lot of them, which is great to see this level kind of engagement and awareness of the project. I would say, unsurprisingly, the biggest, the killer feature of ZetaChain is definitely Bitcoin interoperability, both for end users and builders. Being able to build a contract and have it seamlessly connected to Bitcoin is a huge feature. So it just proved our thesis that this is the right direction, and that we need to kind of double down on making connections to chains that were previously poorly connected or not connected at all. So even existing projects were very interested in that, in this level of interoperability. So connecting to Bitcoin through ZetaChain for many projects that I talked with is actually more interesting than having their own bridge to Bitcoin. And it's easy to understand, right? You have, when you have your own bridge, you need to build out all this infra and maintain it and be responsible for it. With ZetaChain, that's already taken care of. So you kind of get that for free once you connect your chain. And of course, another big selling point is that it's not just a bridge, right? It's a programmable interoperability between your chain and Bitcoin or any other connected chain. So yeah, we participated in ETH Seoul with a keynote, a lot of great speakers there. Then we had a panel at the AppChain Day with Injective Hooked. And then we went on to Web3 Festival, which is a very big event in Hong Kong, large crowd, many stages. So yeah, we delivered Bitcoin keynote on Web3 Festival main stage. So that was awesome. And then we had a few events in Dubai.
Yep. ETH Seoul, which we're going to be back in June, not for any particular big conference or anything, but community growing in Seoul, and we'll be in touch about some cool events coming up. Yeah, here you are on the Hong Kong main stage, and then a lot of contributors were spread out, ETH Tokyo, and then made our way to the Middle East, floating into Token 2049 Dubai. I think you had an interesting incident at one of the side events where the roof caved in from all of the rainfall and had to walk back in ankle deep water, but anything for ZetaChain, I guess.
That is true. We heard all the liquidity jokes there are, so.
Right, I think we've exhausted it at this point. Another highlight, I had a chance to catch up on stage with the CEO of Pudgy Penguins, another L1 blockchain and gaming company. We were talking about the future of Web3 in the very fitting Museum of the Future, which if you have not been to in Dubai, it is a pretty cool venue. And shout out to Pudgy Penguins for organizing and co-hosting with us, booking out this beautiful auditorium. So you can listen back to that and a bunch of other online, offline events that we did in April. Some really good stuff. And Dennis, I know you participated in a number of these. Before you hop, Dennis, anything to share on DevX? I know there's a new cross-chain messaging tutorial, and we don't have to get into the weeds, but if there's anything you want to do, like a quick flyby or anything to call out on DevDocs, feel free to do a quick screen share.
Yeah, let me share the screen quickly. So we have had a few cross-chain messaging tutorials already, but in the latest update that is coming up soon, we kind of cleaned up everything and streamlined the tutorials. So the first one, which you start with, just sends Zeta, and it's barely 40 lines of code, right? It's super simple, doesn't need to handle messages with just one send message command. You can transfer Zeta So it's a very good introductory tutorial that kind of goes through the basics. The next tutorial is messaging. So it's a bit longer, but it deals with sending actual arbitrary data between contracts. The next one is a bit more advanced and more interesting. It's a new tutorial for minting custom ERC20 tokens and making them transferable between blockchains. So this is very useful for any project, basically any project that has a custom ERC20 token, and if you want to make sure that it's transferable between blockchains, check out this tutorial. Very easy to follow, shouldn't take more than 30-40 minutes. And a very similar tutorial based on NFTs, which allows you to transfer NFTs between blockchains. So also very common use case, and we have a tutorial for that. So this is all in preparation for the updates, the protocol that are going to be released soon. Very exciting. It's going to open a lot of interesting new use case, and it will actually connect Omni with cross-chain messaging. So apps that you weren't able to build before, you will be able to build after this May update. Hopefully, this makes you excited about the next protocol update. Sure, is exciting to me. So we're going to ship more tutorials, record more videos, do workshops. So keep an eye on our Twitter account, also in the docs and Discord. We're going to post everything there.
Cool. Thank you. More to come on some of those software upgrades. GitHub issues, I believe, initiated and well under exploration. You mentioned, or I don't know if you mentioned, but we just pushed this update with Angel Hack and Stack Up. This is a global hackathon series. Really cool partnership with the Learn to Earn dev education partner Stack Up, where they're supporting virtual bounties for a bunch of in-person hackathons around the world. And we're a key sponsor of that. So everybody that's been participating in the coursework on Stack Up that Dennis has led over the past, 4 or 5 or 6 months, we encourage you to check out these virtual bounties coming out. And this is open to anyone. So stay tuned on that. We're coming up at the hour here, so we'll just go through the last part of the monthly recap, which is the other update from today. We pushed the first ZetaChain global series. So you've seen we do these monthly recaps every month, covering key updates on ZetaChain. Today is the first live stream. You guys let us know what you think of this and if we should do more of it and where you want to explore deeper. But yeah, the global series, we have a pretty robust ambassador network, and regions like Korea, CIS, Philippines, Turkey, really ramping up activity, online spaces, in-person events, and we want to share those stories. So this will be in the local language and then also English versions, so anybody can check out what's happening in some of these different regions. So Korea covers some of the events at Eat Seoul, and they did a technical Twitter Spaces comparing ZetaChain and other protocols last week. So stay tuned for more. And if you're interested in being featured in these local global series editions, you can check out our Twitter bio link on link 3. This will bring you to all of the local channels in Discord and Twitter and you can get in touch with your ambassador. All right, well, yeah, that brings us to the close of ZetaRadio Live. Thank you to all of our speakers who joined throughout the session, some of whom dropped off. Dennis, thanks to you. Let us know your feedback on the live stream and what you want to see more of, technical tutorials, protocol walkthroughs, or more of ecosystem development. And we're going to try to proactively share more updates over the coming months. So thanks for joining.